Hello students. So now again microorganisms involved in biogas production. Microorganisms are involved in biogas production are anaerobic bacteria. The most important bacteria of these as methanogenic bacteria called methanobacterium. Now these bacteria are commonly found in the anaerobic sludge formed during sewage treatment. These bacteria also occur in rumen of cattle. These where they cause breakdown of cellulosic material, playing an important role in the nutrient of cattle by digesting cellulosic material. The biogas plant consists of a concrete tank in which bio-waste are collected and a slurry of dung is fed. A floating cover is placed over the slurry, which keeps on rising as the gas is produced in the tank due to the microbial activity. The biogas plant has an outlet which is connected to the pipe to supply biogas to nearby houses. The spent slurry is removed through another outlet and may be used as fertilizer. So now next is microbes as biocontrol agents. Biocontrol refers to the use of biological methods for controlling plants. For controlling plant disease and pest. Biological control of pest and disease. A biological control being developed for use in the treatment of plant disease is the fungus Trichoderma. A free-living fungi are very common in the root ecosystem. They are effective biocontrol agents of several plant pathogens. Baculovirus are pathogens that attack insects and other arthropods. The majority of baculovirus used as biological control agents are in the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Okay. These viruses are excellent candidates for species-specific narrow-spectrum insecticidal applications. Microbes as biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are organisms that enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. The main sources of biofertilizers are bacteria, fungi, and cyanobacteria. The nodules on the root of leguminous plants formed by the symbiotic association of rhizobium that fix atmospheric nitrogen into organic forms, which is used by the plant as nutrient. Okay, which is used by the plant as nutrient. Next, cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are autotrophic microbes in aquatic and terrestrial environments, many of which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Example, Anabaena, nostoc, etc. So now here it is the chapter named microbial microbes in human welfare. Now I am going to start another chapter, that is biotechnology. Now biotechnology. It is the next chapter. So, the name of the next chapter is Biotechnology and its principle and process. First, we need to know about what is biotechnology. Biotechnology deals with techniques of using live organisms or enzyme from organisms to produce products and process useful to humans. Okay. Now, among many, the two core techniques that enabled birth of modern biotechnology are: number one is genetic engineering and another one is bioprocess engineering. So first, genetic engineering technique to alter chemistry of genetic material such as DNA and RNA to introduce these into host organisms and thus change the phenotype of the host organism. So what is it? Technique to alter chemistry of genetic material such as DNA and RNA to introduce these into host organisms and thus change the phenotype of the host organism. Okay. So it is the genetic engineering. And now about the bioprocess engineering. What is it? Maintenance of sterile such as microbial contamination free ambience in chemical engineering process to enable growth of only the desired microbe or eukaryotic cell in large quantities for the manufacture of biotechnological products like antibiotics, vaccines, enzymes, etc. Now, restriction enzyme. In the year 1963, the two enzymes responsible for restricting the growth of bacteriophage in Escherichia coli were isolated. One of these added methyl groups to DNA while other cut the DNA. The latter was called restriction endonuclease. Okay. Now, the fast restriction endonucleases are always the fast restriction endonuclease HIND2 always cut the specific base sequence which is known as recognition sequence for HIND2. Okay, so what is known? Recognition sequence for HIND2. Restriction enzyme belong to a larger class of enzyme called nuclease. These are two kinds, exonuclease and another one is endonuclease. Okay, exonuclease and endonuclease. What is exonuclease? Remove nucleotides from the end of the DNA, that is known as exonuclease, and another one is endonuclease. What is it? Make cuts at specific positions within the DNA. Okay, it is known as endonuclease. Now, separation and isolation of DNA fragment. Okay, the cutting of DNA by restriction endonucleases result in the fragments of DNA. These fragments can be separated by a technique known as gel electrophoresis. So now, the cutting of DNA by restriction endonucleases result in the fragments of DNA. These fragments can be separated by a technique known as gel electrophoresis. In this process, DNA fragments are negatively charged molecules and they can be separated by forcing them to move towards towards the anode under the electric field through a medium or matrix. The most commonly used matrix is agarose, which is natural polymer extracted from seaweed. Okay, now next, the DNA fragments separate according to their size through sieving effect provided by the agarose gel. The separated DNA fragments can be visualized only after staining the DNA with a compound known as ethidium bromide, followed by exposure to UV radiation. Okay, now next, is now here it is the diagram of gel electrophoresis. Here 1 2 3 4, these are the wells. Okay, these are the wells. Now here these are the bands. Okay, DNA bands. This group is the largest and here it is the smallest bands. Okay, now so it is the diagram of gel electrophoresis. Now next is, now the separated bands of DNA are cut out from the agarose gel and extracted from the gel piece. This step is known as elution. Okay, known as elution. The DNA fragments purified in this way are used in contrasting recombinant DNA by joining them with cloning vectors. So now we need to know about cloning vectors. What is it? Cloning vectors. For transferring and cloning a foreign DNA segment in a host bacteria, some carrier DNA is needed. Such a DNA molecule is called vector DNA or transport DNA or carrier DNA. Okay, so this type of DNA is known as vector DNA or transport DNA or carrier DNA. The vector DNA with foreign DNA is called recombinant DNA. So what is recombinant DNA? The vector DNA and the foreign DNA. Okay, the vector DNA with the foreign DNA is called recombinant DNA or recombinant vector. Plasmid, phages, cosmid and phasmids are used as vector. Now plasmid. Plasmid, these are extra chromosomal DNA molecule occurring in bacterial cells along with bacterial chromosome. They are circular DNA molecules and do not carry vital genes. PBr322 is most commonly used vector. Next, bacteriophage or phage. Lambda phage are also used for transferring genetic material from one bacterium to another. Their DNA is a linear double-stranded molecule of about 48.5 kb pairs, kilo base pair. Okay, sorry, kb pairs. Okay, 48.5 kb pairs. Next, cosmid. The cosmids are reconstructed vector prepared by joining cause site from bacteriophage DNA, typically a phage DNA, to some plasmid. Okay, it can transfer foreign gene 40.45 kb long into the bacterial cell. Now next is plasmid. What is it? These are plasmid with a fragment of phage DNA along with its attachment site. This can exist in linear as well as in circular form. Next, cloning site. A cloning site is the restriction endonuclease recognition site or target site in the vector DNA. Now next is amplification of a gene of interest using PCR. PCR stands for polymerase chain reaction. It is a method of making multiple copies of a gene of interest in vitro using two sets of primers. It involves three steps. Number one is denaturation. DNA fragment is heated to about 98 degrees centigrade. The two strands of DNA dissociate and act as template strand. Okay, so what is denaturation? Denaturation is nothing but addition of heat. So it again, DNA fragment is heated to about 98 degrees centigrade. Why? Just because the two strands of DNA dissociate and act as a template DNA. Okay. Now next process is annealing of primers. Okay, now so what is it? Now this is allowed to cool about at 60 degrees centigrade and the separated strands are reassociated into dsDNA, double stranded DNA. Okay, so again it is this is allowed to cool about at 60 degrees centigrade and the separated strands are reassociated into double-stranded DNA. Now, the last step of PCR is extension of primer. What is it? Thermostable DNA polymerase enzyme added in the solution that extends the primer to make a complementary strand on each. If this process of in vitro DNA replication is repeated many times, the genomic DNA can be amplified up to 1 billion times within no times. Okay. Now next, so actually the aim of PCR is by this process, actually it is an in vitro DNA replication process. In this process DNA replication is replaced many times. Okay, sorry, not replaced, repeated many times. The genomic DNA can be amplified up to 1 billion times within very less time. Okay, billion times, up to 1 billion times. Okay, now next, here it is the process of PCR. First here it is a double-stranded DNA. Okay, double-stranded DNA. So first process is denaturation, and for this process we need to add heat. How much? 98 degrees centigrade. 98 degrees centigrade. Okay, so in the next step, so when heat is added, the two strands of DNA dissociate and act as a template DNA. Now the next step is annealing of primers. So here the two strands and primer annealing. Here it is the primer. Okay, And next, extension of primer, that means the primers here, those are the primers that is extend in this step. Okay, and last, next annealing, that means again, now this is allowed to cool about 60 degrees centigrade to separated strands are reassociated, okay, into double stranded DNA. And then last is amplified. Okay, here the both double strands, okay, DNA double strands. Now in this way the PCR method is done now. So here it is the PCR method, and this is the diagram of PCR. Okay, now I am going to finish here. So now bye students.